Hello, everyone. Welcome to a very special episode of 8 Ounces of Inspiration. With me today, I have a very special guest because she is my first childhood best friend's daughter. And I feel so happy and delighted that I'm featuring her in my podcast because of what she has been able to do and achieve so far with her new restaurant now. And I wanted that to be a big source of motivation and inspiration for the new generation who's looking to start something of their own and to create their own footprints in this world. So, a little bit about Anushka. Anushka hails from the same small town as I do. It's called Satna, and it's a very small town, now, of course, growing in Madhya Pradesh. She went to Mayo College Girls Boarding School in Ajmer for her entire schooling. And after that, she went for her graduation to the US and graduated in economics and political science from the prestigious Emory University in Atlanta. Her first dance with food and wanting to open her own restaurant is when she tasted her first chicken liver dish in 2015. After that, she traveled across the globe, and what stuck with her was the ability of the restaurants abroad to take complete ownership of the ingredients they worked with and giving their guests a unique experience by giving them an insight into what is going on behind the scene through the visibility of open kitchens and interactive communal seating. In summer 2018, Anushka dined at Toast and Tonic, Mumbai for the first time, where she met Chef Akash Deshpande. A brief conversation led to a friendship, a long-term collaboration, and a business partnership, which today is called Nava. Anushka has experience in the marketing and public relations sector. She has worked with noteworthy organizations like the Weber Shandwick, Current Global, Vogue India, and she has also actively serviced a plethora of prominent startups as well as corporations. Anushka had an unfortunate accident during high school where her right hand had to be amputated. And she now wears that as a badge of honor and motivation for others because she's been able to create a life of her own where she inspires others and advocates for accessibility for different abled people in India. She also spearheaded and helped launch the accessibility of design program at Current Global. What Anushka really aspires for is a sense of inclusivity and normalcy for every person who's there, irrespective of what they look, what they have, what they don't, where they come from, where they live, all of it, right? So, Anushka, a very warm welcome to this podcast. Thank you so much. I know it's been a struggle getting you here. So, I'm very, very
Thank you so
grateful
much.
to have you this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a wonderful start to my morning. And the other thing is, that was such a lovely introduction. And thank you for having me. And thank you for making the time to do this with me. And that means a lot. Yeah.
Awesome. So,
So
let's start
should
with the
we should we
first.
get started?
Yeah. So, what motivated you to start Nava, and how did the whole idea come along? Share with us.
So I always wanted to be in the F&B industry in the long run. And the overall goal was to so my plan was that I would do it in my early 30s, and then I'm 25 at the moment. And anyone who knows me even from Mayo and who grew up with me will know that this was my long term goal, no matter what career path I took. Um, and I've as the story you told, I met Akash in 2018, where at Toast and Tonic, and we were just chit chatting, and then we became very good friends. And I told myself and I told him then that if I ever opened a restaurant, I would do it with him because he specializes in ingredient driven food. So he was trained in a very classical, like French culinary style of cooking. So he studied in Canada. And then so what his specialty is that he takes an ingredient and like brings other elements together to make the overall dish taste better. And that was the concept that I wanted to bring to Bandra. So there's a restaurant like this in South Bombay, but nothing on this side. You always have to go 20 kilometers to eat this type of food. And that was the void that I found. That was one. And then I was in PR for 3 years because my father, rightfully so, was like, nothing doing until you work and get a job and fend for yourself and live in another city. And like, until then, like, well, this is not even a discussion. And after the second wave of the pandemic, it just so happened that the appetite for people to want to go out in Bombay shot up. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen that many people just, literally just wanting to go out and eat. And I think a lot of that stemmed from being holed up in the lockdown at home. And lo and behold, Akash had actually moved back from Doha, that was his most recent stint. And we were sitting at a coffee shop, and we happened to have started talking about this particular underrated ingredient called targula that you get in Bombay. And it looks like, when you open it, like the fruit, it looks like a water chestnut, but it's not, because it's a lot more neutral when it comes to taste. And he's Konkani, so we were just chit-chatting about, how it's an underrated fruit and how much, people use it, like Maharashtrians will use it like in their cooking. And I remember I was like, oh my God. And he said, how much fun would it be to work with? But literally no restaurant in India will like use this. I don't know why. And I remember just my dad happened to have called at the same time. And I asked him, I was like, I'm sitting with Akash. We're just talking about, just restaurants and wanting to open one. And my dad goes, he's back. And I was like, yeah, he's back from Doha. And lo and behold, 2 days later, I've had a serious conversation with my father about opening this restaurant. And the rest is history. I mean, all it took was an ice apple ice apple is the English translation of targula. An ice apple, a cup of coffee, and a random phone call for my father. And a month later, we were looking for a space. And it was, I mean, so it took us 1 year to like mentally conceptualize it along with the construction, and to actually execute it like from scratch would be about 8 months. And I don't know where those 8 months went. Like it was a whirlwind for me. So I hope that answers your question. And like, when I want you to visit the place obviously very soon. And when you do come in, you realize that our kitchen is completely open. Like, it's not open in the sense that there's smoke in your face, but you can see all our chefs cooking. Because as you said, that's what I appreciated about places abroad. And one of the main things was that it also allows, one, the customer to see who's cooking their food, where it's coming from. Two, it helps the chefs maintain a strong body language in the kitchen, because they know they're being watched. Yeah. And so it puts them it keeps them on their toes, and therefore brings out their best game. Yeah. And three, it gives credit where it's due. Like, a lot of the times kitchens are behind closed doors in this country, and you never know. One head chef, and my team is so young that Akash is 30 and he's the head chef. My head pastry chef is 22. And my oldest chef in the kitchen, who's older than Akash, is 34. And I want the customers at the restaurant to see that these are all young people cooking your food, and they are working like tirelessly 18 hours a day, which is something that goes very unnoticed, because in a B2C business, consumers will never appreciate what goes on behind the scenes.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to change that completely. I hope that answers your question.
Fantastic. And while you say this, that over a cup of coffee, dad just called, and 2 days later, just seems like the right time. Things just had to come together, and yeah, it's just that the universe brought all the pieces together for it to really happen. So, all the best.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. So, of course,
Thank you.
Shared what you felt was the underserved need, right? That there's a restaurant like this in South Mumbai, but nothing here, and you wanted to fill that,
yeah,
through your thing. So I'm going to move to the next question, which is, for girls, and of course you have your friends, from boarding school as well as through your college. Some have gone the corporate path, some are looking at entrepreneurship as an option, but all of you, right? And I'm talking about your generation. There's this movement, or me as a parent, I always feel it is so important for girls to work. And as your dad, right?
Yeah.
Right? first learn and work under somebody, because it brings a lot
Exactly.
of humility, it brings a lot of stability and the ability to listen to another person's point of view than before starting.
Yeah.
I want to ask you from your point of view, why do you think it is so important for you and for other women, girls, to work, to
I
be?
think one of the most important, sorry, go ahead. Did I interrupt?
Sorry.
Okay. Okay, no, so I think one of the biggest things, and I think a lot of it also stems from, past generations and otherwise. One of the main reasons I think women should work is financial independence. I think that because a lot of the times what happens in India is that women, even in marriages or otherwise, don't ever really know or are aware of where the financial assets are in their family or otherwise. When you work, you have a certain set of income that you are aware of that is coming to you. And independence aside, then you are in control of that. Hopefully, I hope so. I mean, that's the goal. Like, I really hope, I really do hope that's the case. And you then get to make those own choices in terms of smarter investments, right? You get to grow your money into more money. That's one. So finances are one. The other thing is that I think about time we had, having female owned businesses and having female bosses wasn't such an aha moment. Um, oh my God, she's like the head of sales at Vogue and she's a woman. I'm like, why is that so shocking? Like, it shouldn't be. The other day, someone asked me, like, I haven't met a female restaurant owner since in like 10 years. And I'm like, 10 years is a long time to not have a female restaurant owner. I thought that was, and it was a journalist. So I know that he wasn't just, putting, just pulling like statistics out of nowhere. And I said, 10, that's a decade. I was like 15 years old. Like, that is, back when there was, I guess, the first female restaurant owner. And he said, yeah, like, there are restaurant owners who might be female chefs who may have equity in the business. But I've never seen someone like spearhead a privately held restaurant who is a woman who is also differently abled. And
Right.
I said, okay, the latter I can understand. But the former, where like, I'm like, there are so many female owned businesses, So I want that stereotype to go away. And third is that I think it's intellectually stimulating, right? I think that when you have your own job and like you're working and you're building your own career path, it opens you up to a lot of a space that allows you to think critically, not about small things, but also bigger things. And I think that helps you meet new people. And I think it's a stepping stone, like to have a job, especially for a woman and like otherwise, before you start something of your own. Like you said, right? You have to learn to work under other people, understand how to take feedback, take that criticism, and then do something better with it. And in India, it's important to work simply because, I mean, at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself. Why wouldn't you want to? And it gives you something. You wake up in the morning and you have to go somewhere.
Yes.
I hope that women who are working today do love what they do, and it gives them motivation to not snooze that alarm in the morning and just be like, okay, I have to get somewhere because I have XYZ things to do, because that's what it's my thing.
Yeah.
And I think that is why they should work. I think all women should work whenever they can. It can be at a McDonald's, you can be a female Uber driver. I don't care, as long as it gives them that certain independence and the room to learn. That's
Absolutely.
why I think all women should work.
I'm so with you. So, I, of course, my mission is to promote entrepreneurship because I feel it gives a lot of flexibility, and I've personally lived it through my own life. That's why I advocated that it allows you to
Right.
go through so many crossroads in life, right? If you get
Yeah.
married, then that's a crossroad, then motherhood, then there are other things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, or if you change countries like I did, I moved like 3 countries, 16 cities, after being married,
Yeah.
be able to still
Yeah.
work because a place may not have your company, which has a location there.
Right.
Then again, you feel that
Right.
need something and leaves a lot of,
So,
and it's very true that along with, like you said, financial independence, it's your ability to be able to learn to manage finance, learn to grow that
Yeah,
money. So it opens your mind to a
yeah,
lot of learning, decision making,
yeah,
all these things that
yeah.
empower then your next generation because they are
Right.
watching you continuously. Now,
Yeah,
I wanted to
yeah,
touch on a little bit about the accident that you had, in high school,
yes,
which
yeah,
led you to lose your arm. And so, of course, like that was the point where it probably shattered and it was a huge setback for the family too. You personally
yeah,
takes a lot of, I don't know, everything out of us, right? Why me, all of that.
yeah,
And I know that it must have taken you
yeah,
some time to just gather yourself back. So I just want you to
yeah,
share a little bit about the part which seemed dark to you, and then how you
yeah.
rose from that to bring light
Right.
into your life and take your life and ownership in your own hands, and where you've come so far with after that.
Yeah. I think the darkest part is just the immediate aftermath, right? When you're just trying to process like what the hell did like has just happened. And the even harder or the darker part is when you return home from the hospital and you go home and you have to now somehow adjust in an environment that you've been in, but you're not you, like you don't feel you, because I've obviously lost an arm, and I have to get accustomed to doing things like that while realizing that everyone around me is completely fine. They're not fine mentally, but physically, nothing has changed about their appearance. They look normal, whatever the definition of normal may be. They look it. They seem like conventional human beings to me, and I know that everything will take me 5 minutes more than it'll take them. And um, I think the hardest part was just because, obviously I wouldn't even have reached here without my parents, especially mom. She's one pillar of strength that I think I mean, it might sound cliche, but she is the woman I admire and has inspired me, right? It takes a spine to even go through that as a mother, and it takes like a lot to come out of that, and I commend her for that. And I thank her every single day of my life for being there for me, and like just supporting me. And um one thing that she helped me change about this whole thing was that I was always, I think in the first month when I was home, I was like, you have those episodes where you're just crying and you're like, okay, like why did this happen? And I was crying, and I would be like, why? And she told me, she said, about time, instead of saying why me, you start saying unfortunately me, and then what? Like, how do you get out of this? um and family being family, you know the story, the way it happened, right? They had reservations about sending me back to school. They said, stay back here. And I think after a month of just figuring how to navigate these things, 3 weeks rather, 3.5 weeks, um it was my mom's idea to actually, she came to me and she said, start writing. And I said, what do you mean start writing? And she said, no, start writing again. Do you know you were originally a lefty? And I'm like, oh God, like, okay, great. And because I know that my mom had to shift me from the left to the right because of that stupid stigma back in the day that you shouldn't write with your left hand. And I'm like, and in like 2 weeks, I was right. I know for a fact that I was writing properly, better with this than I ever did with this. And lo and behold, she helped me kind of get out of this rut that I was in. And slowly, she'd be like, okay, you know what? Why don't you try? Like, and we would watch YouTube videos together where, like, we would wear a shirt and like learn how to button it with like one hand, because like that would be my uniform, right? Or like, how to wear how wear a, like, just start wearing clothes and everything, like, just it's like being a baby again. You just have to learn everything, but like with like as a differently abled individual. You feel like a child, because that is like the exact process that we went to. I did everything. I learned how to write, I learned how to wear my clothes again, I did all of that. And um that actually gave my parents, the more they saw, the more I started doing it, the more I got some self-confidence that, you know what, this, I will go back to school. It might be a little like, a month later, but I will go back. I'm so sorry. I don't know what, okay, I'm so sorry. And lo and behold, I made it back to school in August. So school session starts in July. It was 10th board. My 10th board examination was literally the year after. So I have arrived in August, and Mayo being Mayo, their academic standards are off the charts, right? So like the average for a 10th board ICSE is, I think, 95%, the average. And so I literally like caught up with my studies after doing extra classes with my teachers while learning new material in class. And in those 8 months, I made it my mission to get back to everything that I was doing before, barring basketball and playing the guitar. I said that, I like writing. I've been an eloquent speaker for like a public speaker for the longest time in my life. I said I thought Hindi was fun, and I got into Hindi debate. I went for one debate, and lo and behold, by the time I graduated, I'd done 18 and won all of them. And I think the only, see, of course, like you can use external sources to get out of that dark space right after something like this happens. And you should go to therapy. You should take those. You can't just somehow miraculously wake up one day and be fine after you go through something like this. It's literally a utopic and a very you can't do that. And so what I would suggest to people like me also is that the first thing that you need is a change of mindset. And the other thing that you need is, after a certain point of those external resources, somewhere you have to pick yourself up. Because at the end of the day, you are the one who has to go back out into the world. And it's not easy. I'm saying that right now. Like, I will walk outside today and I will have people stare at me nonstop. And that is also one of the hardest parts. How do you walk into a room without looking down at your phone, pretending to be doing nothing, but you walk past everyone straight, right? And like, one of my former bosses told me that, like, the first time I met you, like, the confidence was radiating because your shoulders were straight and you just walked straight across the room to the table that we were sitting at. And it's hard. Like, in India, it's such a stigma oriented country. We live off of this like societal, there are these norms that you have to follow: get married at 25, latest by 25, have a child by 26, like, all of that. And when you look like this and you walk into a restaurant that you're at with your parents or your parents or your friends might not care, but there is no way that nobody is not looking at you. And you can feel the gaze. And it takes a while to tune that out. And that happens once you are confident in your own self. And that takes time. You have to give yourself time, patience, and the right people around you, because they are the ones that will help you get back. They haven't changed, you have. So you have to lean on them for support. That's what I would say.
Yeah, well, I have to say this, you're one of the strongest girls I have seen, of course,
Thank you.
because I've heard so much about you from your mom, and I know what she also went through. So, of course, I have to say that she's very strong, and that comes from her probably to you, because, like you said, really been a pillar of strength, and strength and
She has.
right? And like you said,
Yeah.
you need the family to come together, because
Yeah.
the norms, people love to talk. They somehow feel that
Always.
their way of trying to be nice is by sympathizing and hi bechara. They don't realize that
Yeah.
they can just be normal with you, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and talk to you like, and not do baby talks or, the sympathy talks and oh my God.
Yeah.
It's so much easier because you know that you're being included. There's inclusivity. There is being
Yeah.
treatment like, and that's what I think is so beautiful about the West. I remember
It
my
is.
first experience when I landed at the LA airport as a tourist. I saw there was a girl, she was so gorgeous, and she was at the airport, she had crutches, and she didn't have a foot, right? One leg, but she was wearing a
Yeah.
full business suit. She was carrying her
Yeah.
laptop as a sling, and she was going. And for me also, that was like an away, because I actually looked, because it was hard for me to just absorb this, which I'd never seen in my own country. That somebody who has maybe she was born, or maybe she lost something in an accident, but is being able to lead a life like anybody else, and she's
Yeah.
everything I would be or you would be, right? So I think that is something we really need to bring into India, and not just the staring, but having conversation.
Yeah. And I think that simple example like that, right? Like how you were in awe of like her in a business suit. People didn't realize that people like me could work out and do Pilates until I started doing it, and like was putting up stories. And like it normalized that for them because I was doing it.
Yeah.
And they know one person like me, right? Like it's not like they know like multiple.
Yeah.
And I mean, you sometimes also, I feel like, as somebody who's differently able, you also have to put yourself in situations that are uncomfortable for you, because you're basically leading an uncomfortable life almost every other moment of every day, right? So you get used to this challenge accepted mentality, right? Where I don't know, at least I'm somebody where like someone tells me to like not do something, I will try my best to do it twice and then take pictures.
Yeah.
Because because I feel like half the time they anyway assume that I don't have a life. So everyone assumes, right? She
Yes.
doesn't have a dating life. She's not, she doesn't work. She like, and then suddenly I'll be like, no, I own a restaurant. I've had a job before. I'm building a business. I do go work out. And I think half of the reasons that I can do that is also because when I went to the West for my studies, when I went to Emory, right? Everything was normal there.
Yeah.
Like nobody treated me like I was doing everything from like a cardio hip hop workout class to like doing spin, like proper spin classes, like with everyone else. And then I came to India and I went for a spin class, and this instructor was like, "Are you going to be okay?" I was like, "Oh yes, I
Yeah.
will." I was like, "I've been doing spin for 3 years. I'm going to be just fine. Like you don't have to worry about me." And I got out of that class, sweating buckets, having made it through that 90-minute boot camp. And she looked at me and she's like, "Yeah, this whatever this is working like this." And that's all she could say because she was just speechless. And so you have to embrace
Yes.
the uncomfortableness of this lifestyle, because it's only then that you will prove people wrong one way or the other.
And I think that's
um
your power.
and yeah.
The
Yeah.
discomfort and your ability to push those boundaries, whether it's to
Yes.
prove or to
Yeah.
prove to yourself or to tell someone, look, I can do this, I think has really, I mean, I
Yeah.
think that's your power, you know. And
Thank
okay,
you. Thank you.
so, Anushka, I'm going to come to some, like I created these, and you're the first person I'm starting this with. So these are some
Okay, I'm ready. I'm nervous, but I'm ready.
So these are like some
Okay.
rapid fire questions, so we can get to know you more personally, and things.
Okay.
So just like one word, and just whatever comes
Okay.
to top of your mind, no thinking. Okay, so I'm going to go one after the other. Your favorite color?
Red.
No earth. We just
Yeah.
answered. Oh, by the way, it's the same.
Okay.
I
Okay.
love reds. I'm always in red.
Same. Oh yes. I was gonna say, I was like,
Yeah,
love that
I
lip color.
love.
I love that.
I
Yeah.
think it's
Yeah.
such a color of confidence and color of like
Yes.
happy.
Yeah.
Your favorite city to
Yeah. My favorite city to visit would be New York.
live? Your favorite city to live?
Mumbai, 100%.
Favorite food?
Italian or Rajma Chawal?
Okay. Favorite movie?
Uh, oh God, there's too many, but you can't make me answer this. Okay, fine. A favorite of all time, Hindi would be Sholay. English would be any of the James Bond films, all of them. I
Favorite
can't
book?
pick. It's tough.
Favorite book?
I'm currently actually reading this particular book called Whereabouts by Jhumpa Lahiri. I'm enjoying that. But favorite book of all time would be, oh God, I've read so many. This is so tough. Okay, I would say Cain and Abel by Jeffrey Archer.
Okay,
That would
thank
be a good one.
you.
I think I can
Uh,
read that over and over again.
So
Yeah.
my next question was going to be the book that you read last or you're currently reading. You've already answered that by Jhumpa Lahiri. So I'll move to the next one.
Yeah.
A quotation that you love to repeat or you've put behind your desk.
Never lose your individuality. It was, it's not by somebody, it's by a friend. So, yeah.
Favorite word that you use a lot?
Confidence. Fierce, confidence, smiles, which is the millennial thing for smiling with your eyes, smiles. Yeah. Those are the ones.
Okay, so let me write this.
Yeah. It's like smiles, you're fierce, right? Like, it's like that look that you give in like a sassy photograph. That's a good, that I use that a lot.
And I think you also use lo and behold a lot.
Lo and behold. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a phrase. I thought, yeah. I say that a lot.
One quality or ability you want to acquire and inhabit in yourself.
Patience. I'm a very impatient person because I've always had this thing since my accident to want to achieve everything too fast and too quickly. And that doesn't help when you're running a business. And I'm slowly but surely, I'm learning how to be patient day by day because it's very erratic. Like life is very erratic. So yeah.
For what in life do you feel most grateful?
My parents, my friends, my family, and currently at the moment, my team at Nava. They've been like the best, all of them. And nothing would be possible without all of these people in my life. So friends, family, and my team at Nava.
Fantastic. Well, that brings us to the end of this podcast. Unfortunately, I can go on and on just having a conversation with you. It is so wonderful. But I have to stop this right now. But I want to just tell our viewers that, Anushka is so young and she has created power from something that happens not because you know that exists in you, but it just changes your life overnight, right? You haven't expected it, you never thought of it, and it happens. So the real power is to be able to deal with it and make that your strength and power, which drives you, which makes you push yourself forward to achieve everything that you probably wouldn't have done if this hadn't happened, and create openings and doors for you like you would have never imagined, right? So thank you so much, Anushka, this morning for creating inspiration, motivation for everyone who views this, everyone who hears this. I'm just very happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm very happy for your parents. I'm truly, truly happy for, your mom, Ashu. I still remember, like, we went to nursery together. And there's so much we shared together as a journey, so I feel extremely delighted. And thank you so much for being with us. All the very best to you for now. I can't wait to come there and have a meal with you.
Thank you so much. Yes, please. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a wonderful start to my morning. I'm going to have a big smile on my face having done this. And, if any of the viewers by any chance reach out and want to connect with me, feel free to,
yes, I'm going to put
give
all
them
your
my number.
in the bio where your location is, your connect, all of that, so that they can take guidance, they can connect with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and thank you for, just reaching out and wanting to do this with me. It means the world to me. It really, really, really does. And I'm glad we finally scheduled it and, made it happen. Thank you so much. It's so nice to connect with one of mom's oldest friends also. So that's also a lot of fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, I hope now the next time I see you both, it'll be for a meal at Nava together, all of us.
Absolutely.
Girls' lunch.
Let's make that happen.
Yeah.
Thank you.
100%.